You're watching Chicago Bears Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Harrison Graham, and we got a lot to get to here on today's show. A lot of rumors circulating around free agency and the draft. Also, Kevin Warren introduced as the Bears president and CEO. Coming up later in the show, we will talk about that a little bit. I have a few thoughts on how the presser went and what that could mean for the future, so stay tuned. Later in the show, we will get to that topic. But first, let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and more specifically, could Chicago trade for Mike Evans or Chris Godwin? Because rumors of Tom Brady leaving and a potential Buccaneers blow-up are already circulating. And you kind of saw it last night, right? Like, you know, the chatter all week leading up to Tampa, Dallas was, Dallas will choke, Brady's still Brady. Well, it's not that simple. The Bucs really struggled this year. The O-line was a mess. They couldn't run the ball. Brady's a free agent now. He's probably going to walk and either sign elsewhere or retire. And if that happens, they could blow things up in Tampa and hit that reset button. They got to figure out their coaching situation. Byron Leftwich could be out. There was a report that he's already been fired. I don't know if that's official. We'll see what happens there. As the offensive coordinator, Todd Bowles, not a great first year as head coach. So we'll have to wait and see. But if Brady walks, I could see Tampa trading off some assets, and maybe the Bears, who could use another big-time receiver, would be interested. Now, obviously, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, one of the better duos in the NFL. They combined for, over 2,000 yards this year. Evans had 6 touchdowns, almost 15 yards per catch. Godwin, more of that underneath safety valve for Tom Brady this year. Obviously, when you look at Mike Evans, he gives you that big body X receiver, which is something the Bears are lacking. I mean, Chase Claypool's a big body, but, I don't think he's a number one. I think Evans clearly is that number one type, and Godwin can obviously be a number one type as well. He's also younger, works the middle of the field a little bit better, so he probably is that more like third down, like, hey, when we need 7-8 yards on 3rd and 5, Godwin's that guy. But Evans can be that big-time home run hitter, like, hey, just go run a go route in man coverage, throw it up. I'm 6'5", 240. I'm going to go make a play for you. Godwin's like, hey, give me 12 targets. I'll catch 9 balls for 85 yards at a touchdown, So it's kind of pick your poison. I think the Bears have a similar receiver to Godwin in Darnell Mooney, but Mooney's a little bit more explosive, not as reliable at this point in his career. Evans at 6'5", 240 with that vertical ability. They're hoping Claypool can give him some of that, but Evans plays as big as his size. Claypool doesn't always do that. So let me know, who would you rather have? Type E for Mike Evans or type G for Chris Godwin? Who would you rather trade for if you were the Chicago Bears? Now, I appreciate our sponsor today, and that is Rocket Money. If you guys want to start saving money and, setting a budget for yourself, Rocket Money is a great app to help you do that. Do you know how much your subscriptions really cost? Most Americans think they spend around $80 per month on subscriptions when the actual total closer to $200 plus. That's right. You could be wasting hundreds of dollars each month on subscriptions you don't even know about. This app that I use that will help me take care of those problems, it's called Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill. This app shows you all of your subscriptions in one place and then cancels for you whatever you don't still want. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you didn't know that you were paying for. You may even find out that you've been double charged for a subscription. So, to cancel a subscription, all you have to do, press cancel. Rocket Money will take care of the rest. So get rid of useless subscriptions today with Rocket Money. It's rocketmoney.com/Bears now. Check the comments, check the description to get going with Rocket Money. Save money with Rocket Money. Link in the description of this video. All right, let's talk about the finances of Godwin and Mike Evans now. Is Chris Godwin's remaining contract of the next 2 years, it's the same each year. $20 million base, $23.75 million cap hit for Tampa. And that's true even if he's traded. If he's traded, you're still going to take on $23.75 million in cap, which isn't bad. He's a good player. The receiver market's gone up. That's not an outrageous price to pay. Is it a slight overpay? Probably, but that's just kind of the market. Now, Mike Evans, who is a bigger receiver, hits more home runs. He's only got 1 year left on his deal. His base, $13 million. Cap hit, $23.69 million, so about the same. Free agent next year. However, in Evans' case, the way his contract is structured, if he is traded, whatever team trades for him only takes on $14.5 million on the cap. So you add all that up with what the Bears have at receiver, with Evans only having 1 more year left on his deal, so you could almost treat it as a potential rental. I'd much rather trade for Evans, depending on the cost. Now, I'm not trading the number 1 pick for anybody, any of these players straight up. That's crazy. But second round pick for Mike Evans, maybe? Maybe you trade back from one, get an extra second, trade that pick to Tampa, something like that. Only $14.5 million in cap. That's a pretty good deal for a guy who's a top 15, fringe top 10 receiver in this league. He's only 29. It's not like he's 32. He's younger than Devontae Adams. He's younger than DeAndre Hopkins. So I'm intrigued by this. He's the type of guy that I think could help this offense take the next step. So I'm intrigued by Mike Evans. I love Chris Godwin, but I think Evans would be the better trade candidate in this case. All right, join the family here at Chicago Bears Now. If the Bears make a trade, we're going to go live. It's as simple as that. And, pretty decent chance the Bears will make a trade and or trades this offseason. So make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications. We're the channel for you. And remember, I told you guys on Monday, once we reach 60,000 subscribers, we're like 1,200 away, we will do a live fan-led mock draft. We'll mirror the mock draft simulator, and you guys will get to make the picks. I will be following your guys' lead. That should be a lot of fun. So subscribe. Let's get to 60K as soon as possible. All right, let's transition from trade rumors to free agency rumors. Could the Bears sign Michael Thomas? Now, he is still under contract with the New Orleans Saints, but report out there that the Saints are likely to release Thomas this offseason. This coming from Nick Underhill, who's covered the Saints for quite a while. He tweeted this out. Some more details on the Michael Thomas updated contract. There's also another $30 million bonus if he is active for 4 games next season to go along with the $31 million roster bonus we already know about. So if the Saints keep him, it would cost more than $60 million. Underhill also added this: unless this thing gets reworked, he'll get cut. Which is obvious, right? That's an outrageous price tag for any receiver, pretty much any non-quarterback with those bonuses. But especially for a guy who has only played in 10 games the last 3 years, I expect Thomas to get cut. I think it makes sense for both sides. Like, listen, Michael, you had a great run, but the last 3 years you haven't stayed healthy. We've kind of been battling, this potential cap hell. We've been pushing it off. We're going to go ahead and cut you, help us out. It'll help you out, get a fresh start elsewhere, and let's just move on. Because Thomas's last 4 years, 2019, he was pretty good, but 2020, 2021, 2022, he just has not been able to stay healthy. And listen, I would take a flyer on Michael Thomas. I would take a flyer on Michael Thomas because his first 4 years in the NFL, he was as good as anybody in this league. Now, they called him slant boy, yada, yada, yada. He's not the biggest vertical threat, but 470 catches. You do quick math, that's about 115 catches, 117 catches a year. 5,500 yards, that's about 1,400 yards per year. 32 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns per year, average of 11.7. This guy is a catch machine when he's healthy. Now, last 3 years he hadn't played much, so I'm not expecting that, but you sign him to like a 1-year incentive-laden deal, and if he can give you, let's say, 13 out of 17 games, I think he could catch 60 balls for you. I think Michael Thomas still has a lot left in the tank. He's had some bad luck with injuries. I don't think him and the Saints have always been on the same page the past couple of years. He went to Ohio State. Justin Fields went to Ohio State. Obviously did not overlap there, but they've got that connection. I'm intrigued by this. If he gets cut, look out for the Bears, who have more money than anyone else, to maybe take a flyer on a guy like Michael Thomas. Now, would you sign MT if he gets cut? Type S for sign or P for pass. I would absolutely do this. I think it would be good for both sides. We will have to see how that plays out in New Orleans first. Obviously, he's still under contract, but I do expect that to change. One more free agent receiver that could be on the radar for Chicago, and that is JuJu Smith-Schuster. Bleacher Report mentioned JuJu as a potential Bears free agent target. Obviously, the free agency class for receiver is pretty thin right now, which is why Ryan Poles traded for Chase Claypool. But I think JuJu's a guy that I would show some interest in. I thought he had a good year for the Chiefs, missed a couple games, but still got 78 catches and 933 yards. Only found the end zone 3 times, but he was a solid, reliable weapon for Patrick Mahomes. I expect that to continue in the postseason for JuJu and Kansas City. He had a nice bounce-back year because last couple of years in Pittsburgh, he had some injuries, especially last year. Big Ben was declining as a quarterback. Gets united with Patrick Mahomes, plays well. Now he enters the open market to see if he can cash in. I'm not sure what his market would be, maybe 15 to 17 million per year. Hard to know for sure. Now you look at the wide receiver depth chart, because we've talked a bunch about receivers today. I don't know if JuJu comes in or even Michael Thomas comes in as clearly your best weapon, but I do think Evans or Godwin would be wide receiver 1, and I think there's a scenario where Thomas and or JuJu could be wide receiver 1, and if you can get a true number 1 and slide Mooney and Claypool down a peg, you're feeling a lot better about that position going into the 2023 season. So pick a receiver to sign. MT for Michael Thomas, JS for JuJu Smith-Schuster. Who would you rather have? Part of me would rather gamble on Thomas because I think the upside is higher, but you could talk me into either guy. MT for Thomas or JS for JuJu Smith-Schuster. All right, let's get to the news of the day, and that is Kevin Warren as he was introduced as CEO and president. Met with the media for a while. Shout out to the Bears. Their stream crashed and was what's the word I'm looking for? It was offline. There you go. Thank you, Jack, for several minutes. So I kind of had to follow along with the quotes on Twitter, yada, yada, yada. But he said a lot of stuff. I can't recap all of it, but I did want to mention the first note that he officially starts in April, but in the meantime is going to work with Ted Phillips during that transition. That date could be moved up, though, and he also said, I feel like I've already started as he's kind of getting going here. Here's Kevin Warren on why he took the job, because I think that's important for anyone who takes a job. Why do you want this job? He says it was because of the challenge, the opportunity. I trust Ryan Poles. I trust Coach Matt Eberflus. We're going to do things the right way. We're not going to take shortcuts. We're going to build an incredible franchise. I came here to win championships, and then later on he said greatness is ahead of us. I think a couple of things that stood out to me. Number one, Kevin Warren knows what he's doing. I'm not saying Ted Phillips didn't do anything good at all, but I think this is a clear upgrade here. He is experienced in a new stadium development, did it with Minnesota, talked about that's his sole focus right now, getting that going on the Arlington Heights property, which that's another side point. This team's moving to Arlington Heights. Can't say it with 100%. I would say it's a 99.6% chance right now. This team is moving to Arlington Heights, so prepare yourself. That is what this is about. Kevin Warren said within 6 months he could give you a better timeline of when that stadium could eventually be completely built. So they're hitting the ground running here on that project. So, I know some of you guys are nostalgic to Soldier Field, but this move is happening. The business development is a big reason why, so get underway on that. Also, this note, and then a couple other notes on Warren specifically. George McCaskey introduced Kevin Warren and made it clear Ryan Poles will have complete authority over football decisions, but instead of reporting to McCaskey like he did this past season, he will now report to Kevin Warren like prior GMs used to report to Ted Phillips. So Kevin Warren is who Poles will report to, but it'll be more of a collaboration because Ryan Poles is going to have complete authority on football decisions. Warren's just kind of that, person that we all have to report to, right? Like we all have a boss, quote unquote, but Ryan Poles is his own boss. He's in control of the football operation. Now, a couple more thoughts on Warren. Number one, his relationship with Justin Fields is really good. There's this misconception out there because in 2020 when Fields was a quarterback at Ohio State and the whole COVID thing was going on and Big Ten almost didn't play football, that Kevin Warren and Justin Fields don't like each other because Fields started the We Want to Play campaign, and ultimately they did play. And look, Kevin Warren, I don't think he probably handled the COVID thing as well as he could have. I will say this as well. I think he gets a lot of flack for being, the head honcho of the Big Ten, right? Really, if you're a conference commissioner, you're a mouthpiece for school presidents. That's reality. That's just how it works. Again, not saying Warren handled that situation great, but I think that's probably something he learned from. And for this job specifically, the relevant experience he has working with the Vikings, the Rams, a few years with the Lions, has led him to this point. And he acknowledged that. He said, this has started over 30 years ago to get to where I am now. Him and Fields are on the same page. They've talked several times since then, he said. He commended Justin Fields' ability as a leader. So for those of you thinking Fields is going anywhere, I don't think he will, although that's a Ryan Poles decision. I think this is a good hire. He sounds like a professional. He just looks the part when you listen to him talk. So it's a new era for the Bears. Started with Poles and Flus last year. Hopefully they're the right guys for their jobs. Hopefully Warren's the right job for this job. But it feels like it's a professional franchise once again, and I think we can all be very excited about that. All right, grade the Kevin Warren hire. A, B, C, D, or F. I think it's an A or B. I don't see how he could go lower than that. He's qualified. He knows what he's doing. He's going to get the stadium thing under control. So let me know, A, B, C, D, or F. Drop your letter grades in the comments. And again, be sure to subscribe to the channel because we're posting content every single day. Our Monday video had like 46,000 views. You guys are awesome. The support has been fantastic. The more you guys watch, the more content we're able to distribute. So go ahead and subscribe, and we'll continue to bring you daily videos.